Whoa, 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 whoa. What's up? Okay. I'm back at Agora Temple today. So it's not as you can see on the second floor in the sanctuary of the temple. What's everybody? Thank you for joining. Tuning in. Sorry to be tardy to the party. Um, yeah, I was just going through some notes and had a little topic in mind. Wanted to share some pictures for the first time. I haven't been able to do that, so that's why I was a little bit behind today. Uh, but yeah, a lot of controversy right now, man. Cardi B and Offset getting a divorce, and now Cardi B is being ridiculed for her decision making. So there's a movement supporting her, and then the guys got their point, and everybody's arguing, and it's like, what is going on? Why are we not just talking? Fires are still erupting everywhere. Peace and love to all the people who are suffering through that, as well as all the victims who are still suffering from COVID. Uh, Man, we're in a very interesting time. And that time that we're in, I like to call it the Twilight Zone. I'm, I, I would assume that at least one person in the chat will agree. Text one if you agree. Text two if you disagree, and why. Uh, Man, I have some things I want to just uh, have fun with today, man. You know, there's some good content out. Has anybody been watching Lovecraft Country? I still got to catch up on that. I've been watching. Me and Natalie been watching Woke. That's uh, that's been a pretty fun show. Interesting subject matter there. Um, I was definitely a victim of police brutality um, a number of times, so I definitely have experience in that department. Um, and so, man, it's like we're living in a horror show, right? That's where we're gonna go today with this Twilight Zone. So, man, what makes this the Twilight Zone? Well, that means that the place that we're living in right now is kind of the opposite of what it I maybe should be, or maybe what it once was before. And there are a number of ways to show that. Um, at one point in time, women were ruling the planet, and this time, men are ruling the planet. At one point in time, uh, melanated people were ruling the planet, and this time, lightly melanated people are ruling the planet, or some would say non-melanated, but that's not here nor there. At one point in time, uh, women were not only empowered, but they were the definition of power. And this time, it's the opposite. Uh, so, but what does that mean for us? Obviously, that means that we're going on a journey, and this journey is to evolve into a higher form of ourselves. But there's a process into doing that, and that process is, what our ancestors would call alchemy. And the alchemy is a process of taking base metals, in science, and turning it into gold, or taking uh, taking energy and transforming it into another form of energy through a very intense, heated process. In this physical plane, that would look like a form of oppression or trauma. So these things, you at the end, will be tools to help liberate us, but they come as a storm. And there are a lot of different goddesses of the past who show the story of that, and it's interesting how these things have manifested uh, to us today. Was that honestly? This is the calmest I've ever been in my adult life. That's good. I see a lot of ones in here. Nice. So we're on the same page. Oh, has anybody been watching the Twilight Zone? I haven't watched it yet. Jordan Peele is he's one of the producers of that, and that dude has a very brilliant mind. So I wouldn't be shocked to see if that good brother has some good messages for us in the Twilight Zone. So if we are in the Twilight Zone, where are most of our messages to help move us to that next side? So what I want to do is I got a few pictures, couple of notes I want to show. Um, this is my first time using PowerPoint, so you guys are gonna have to bear with me. But we're gonna go through a little something. And if something sparks out to be really interesting, I want you to say it. Because this isn't facts that I'm about to give you. This is my perspective. And everybody should have one. Uh because that helps us see things just from a different vantage point, which can always help us in some shape or fashion. So if you need to go your grab your blunt, grab whatever that thing is to help you find your peace and get into that zone, go do that. I'm gonna take about a minute to get it, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right, so I wasn't able to get the PowerPoint up, but I still have my screen share. So uh, I'll share pictures with you. So interesting enough, how this topic came up initially was through me wanting to talk about the importance of breathing. Um, and why is that? One, because one of the biggest things about this year has been COVID. And COVID apparently really affects your immune system, definitely in the respiratory area. Oxygen levels go low, which then sends you into different states that are hard to get you out of. It's terrible. So having good, healthy lungs and properly knowing how to breathe are very, very important. But the other reason why is because there are things that are happening in nature right now that are having a huge impact on our immune system and our breathing as well, with all these fires. Um, and even before all of this, most of us didn't even know how to breathe properly. And so and maybe haven't even thought to learn because we were never taught about the power of it and how important it is and how important these lungs are to the body and how important they are to raising your vibration and raising your consciousness, because there's a such thing as conscious breathing where there are different states of breathing or deep breathing that you can go into that will send you into different states of consciousness and raising up your vibrations and your emotions, which takes a lot of practice. But having the right amount of oxygen levels in your body regulates your all of your systems, your respiratory system, your immune system, your circulatory system, regulates the blood cells, helps with healthy functions of all of your organs. So breathing is, in our ancestors called the breath the spirit. So if you really want to be filled with the spirit, you're really saying you really want to be in tune with having oxygen flow through your body. Because what happens when you become ill or full of disease or sick, your blood has become toxic because there's not enough oxygen getting to the cells to then release the carbon monoxide or the toxins or the gases that are held inside of them. So there's a science to it. It is really important. And blood is what? That's plasma, is liquid sunlight. So you have to have a good foundation and a master level of the four elements within yourself, i.e., you need to become the avatar. You have to be master of the air, which is your breathing, oxygen, being in tune with yourself. In that way, with water, we're 70 to 80% water. And so there's a difference by having an acidic body and an alkaline body. An alkaline body is a healthy body. So your pH levels have to be at a certain level in order for you to really be walking around this thing and having some type of confidence in yourself to do great things. So you have to master the water. How much water are you drinking? This is not a good time to be drinking a bunch of sodas and Kool-Aid. You do what you do, but beware that a healthy body is an alkaline body. And then we have earth. So earth would be like, what are you eating, or what are you holding on to? Because thoughts become things as well, and stressful thoughts turn into illnesses or sicknesses or viruses. And so what you eat or what you digest or what you think about, um, and what you turn into physical form, is very important. So you have to become a master of that, a master of your surroundings. And then the fire, which is your passions or your emotions. Man, has anybody been having some crazy emotions lately? I've been experiencing some. Uh, man, it that with the sun not shining as much and smoke everywhere and people not being aware of crazy erratic behavior that they're doing, it could get you frustrated a little bit. And if you're stuck in the house, you don't have a place to express that. uh, so if you're feeling rage, man, I get it. I haven't felt rage, but I felt a little like, what's going on? um, there's also Mars is in retrograde, so that has an influence on us as well. Um, so yeah, you said what am I rooted in? Like I said, you got to be rooted in all four. So if you go to the Egyptian temples, you'll look up the Ogdo, and so it's eight characters, but they're twins. It's of the male and female principles of the four elements, which are the creators of this reality that we're in. So all of these potentials are the ones that live inside of you, um, and you have to become a master of all of them. Just like if you are in your zodiac sign, be aware of what your sign is, your strengths and your weaknesses, but to not have the sign be the ruler of you, but you be the ruler of it, or be in harmony with it, where you understand yourself, but you're not being directed by something else other than yourself. So become that avatar. And what happens when the avatar wakes up? That pineal gland opens. Why is that important to breathing? Because when you go to sleep, DMT is released out of your pineal gland, but also your lungs produce a very now I don't say a high amount, but the most amount of DMT. Um, and so that is very, very interesting. What is DMT though? DMT is a molecule that it's a substance that grows, that is found in plants, it's found in animals, it's found inside of us. They call it the spirit molecule because it's it's a small mass that leaves the body when someone passes away. And scientists say that it is the thing that causes us to have dreams and to hallucinate. So if you take DMT, if you smoke it, then it sends you on a very spiritual journey, very quick, intense trip, um, apparently, and you tap into another realm, which is, i.e., channeling to a different realm or more introspective realm inside of yourself or the universe within. Um, so yeah, DMT is secreted through that pineal gland, but then it also helps you in your journey into consciousness. And so opening up the pineal gland comes by way of getting the acid out of your diet, because an acidic body will create what is called corrosion over the pineal gland, which then builds it up. It's like a plaque buildup. And if that plaque is built up around the pineal gland, it's basically like a closed lens. So if your eye or your awareness of what this reality is this lens, the more the dirt, the more unclean you are on the inside, the more shut down that thing is going to be, to where your perspective is very limited. So instead of having very introspective or higher perspective thoughts about life and being aware of things, you're going to have a very small view. You're only going to think about very small things, i.e., your lower vibrations, thinking about just food, survival, sex, and you know things of that nature. So it's very important that the amount of water, the amount of sleep, because sleep helps regulate the body. A lot of chemicals are produced when you are asleep, and so a lack of sleep and a lack of water creates dehydration, and this dehydration also has an effect on your body being able to produce these medicines, these internal medicines, to help you uh, carry yourself over or evolve or heal itself. And so being a master of all four of these things is a part of your godly journey. Oh, sorry. You said no. I meant earth sign is where I like to visualize other things on the roof. I'm a fire guy, but but my moon is a Cancer, so I got a lot of water energy coming out of me until I get angry, and the Incredible Hulk comes out. But that's because of those gamma rays, right? So okay. Now back to the Twilight Zone, or the horror show that we're in. Um, Interesting. The word horror. Um, I connected that word back to Heru, and Heru, which is the hawk god, the deity of ancient Egypt. is where you get the root word for hero. And so during the hero's journey, Heru has to travel into the underworld where his father, Osiris, is, the sleeping god, to avenge him and defeat his evil brother, his evil uncle, Set. Kind of just like the Lion King, with Simba having to defeat Scar and Mufasa being the when Mufasa was in the sky, that was they were talking about Osiris. So Osiris is a representation of the subconscious mind. Um, and Set or Scar is a representation of the ego or the trauma, which is probably why they named the character Scar. That's why he has scar on his face, because he had been scarred by life and he hadn't been able to get over it. So when these things happen, when you get scarred in life or you get traumatized, your consciousness places that as a reality and a protection over it, and that protection comes in forms of walls or ideas that hinder you from being able to open up in that area. And so the hero's journey is about going into the subconscious mind, finding those places, which are then called monsters, because what your mind does for you to run away from that thing that you need to address, you will put something that is very fearful to you in front of yourself so that you will run away. And so the idea of someone saying face your fears or face those demons, those are those scars inside of you that you left behind. And so I thought, well then, dang, that's pretty cool, because if that's the journey that we have to go on, then part of that journey means that we have to spend some time in the underworld or the Twilight Zone. So being in the Twilight Zone is not necessarily a negative thing. It's just a reality that you're in a space where you have to complete a journey. You're in the side of the journey where 2020 is showing you what's really hidden in the dark, the true colors. And then it's for us to then navigate through that by, what did Rafiki tell Simba? You either run from it or learn from it. I know what I have to do, but that means I have to face my past. Yeah, the past can't hurt. Remember that? And then what did he do? He went back, he faced it, fought it, killed it, and then the sun started to shine again. Now, why does Heru become the hero, and where do they get that story from? Heru is related to what's depicted as the sun. Now, literally, the sun rises up in the morning, right? And then it gets high in the sky, and then at a certain point, it seems to descend or go into the dark. And so we are all manifestations of light, right? The Bible says you are salt and light to the world. Your light rises up, but then your light also falls down from perspective. And so as it falls down, the sun itself goes into the underworld for a period of time. And then while it's in the underworld, what's actually happening is life is really starting to happen, because life begins in the dark. So all of the light or all the stars that we see in the sky are able to exist by way of the darkness. So what we see in the sky is literally what's happening down here, is that when you go into this dark place, then that's where the magic begins. It's like when you plant a seed, you don't see what's connecting that seed to that sun and the water and everything else. Something is happening. And what you see when the sun comes back up, it is the process, it is the byproduct of what had already been happening in the dark, i.e., what you materialize into the world is just a byproduct of something that had been manifesting in the dark part of your mind. So we're in the Twilight Zone. But how do we get there? Heru has another pronunciation of his word, of his name, and it is horror. 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 How are these stories? How are these stories the same? Well, I'll tell you. As I just said, when you go into the underworld as Heru, you have to face these monsters. All horror stories are talking about people running away from monsters. Now, when you change your perspective and you put yourself in that story and make this about a personal journey of you facing something that isn't really there or that you created to be there, then you get a different picture. So there is a goddess from ancient Hindu mythology. She's found in China, or no, she's Tibetan, and is her name is Black Tara. Black Tara, you also find is another replica of another ancient black goddess named Kali. Now, Kali, whoa, we're going to go to that one in just a minute, guys. So, this is Kali, my good friends. Kali is an ancient Hindu goddess, but no, so let's get, so disclaimer, nobody was worshiping these beings and nobody thought they saw this. This is a metaphor of your subconscious mind. This is your conscience. So, Kali is depicted as blue, such as for the sky or water, because this is a cosmic mother. This is the goddess. This is the manifestation of the universe. And so all of these heads on her body, these heads are different manifestations of her children, or i.e., the ego. And so Kali, as the great mother, nurturing mother, she liberates her children by detaching them from their ego, so that they then become this character you see up under Kali, the resting Shiva, which is Shiva represents the creator or the light. But as God said after those days of creation, then he rested. This is what that looks like. You're the creator who needs rest, i.e., you need to breathe. You cannot breathe if you're in distress. Distress creates fight or flight signals to your body, produces a lot of cortisol, which then produces this red energy that turns into this violent monster. And that's what Kali also is if you use her in that way as the ego. Because this is a manifestation of the chaotic energy that we are. It is this goddess energy that could be this warrior to liberate, to evolve, or it could be this destructive monster. Have you ever experienced? Where am I at? We're gonna cancel that. Have you ever experienced being so angry that you just lost control and you did some damage that you didn't really want to do? That's what that looks like. What's interesting is that Tara, this black goddess I just showed you, she became the word terror. Because I mean, if you look at the pictures, I mean, they're pretty freaking terrifying. If you don't understand the metaphor, but look at that. That's oh, I'm scared. Or look at that. That's a monster right there. That's a monster. But that's a powerful monster. So we get out of that. And how does this word continue to manifest itself later on and find us again? The idea of the new terror is an idea for us to run away from something to fear, when it's something that we have to face. And so another interesting point is in Greek mythology, there was the goddess Apollo. And Apollo is the manifestation of Heru. And right here it says that Apollo was represented as a beardless youth, either naked or robed. Distance, death, terror, and awe were summed up in his symbolic bow. So Apollo has a bow and arrow. And in that bow and arrow comes death and terror. I think I forgot to remind you that in the journey of Heru, Homeboy got one weapon in one hand and another one in another hand. And he is coming to destroy. Just like when they say Jesus coming back to destroy, coming to kill, same story. But not to kill people. It is to kill the ego or to destroy the illusion, the old world. Doesn't it say in the Bible that the old world will pass away and then we will have a new one? Yeah. So these stories are showing us a mythology, which is just a process that if we can see the story the right way, it will show us a message about how to become that hero or that higher self. And it involves you really facing who you really are. And that's a very powerful storyline in the Batman series, which is coming from these same ancient mythologies. The Joker is confronting the Dark Knight and telling him that, remember in that scene when they were in the interrogation room and Joker said, don't talk like one of them. You're not. To them, you're just a freak. Like me. Remember that? Remember he said, I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you? You complete me. We are the yin and yang of each other. I'm the Twilight Zone version of you. Um, and so, man, that's some very interesting points in that story when it talks about melanin. But that's another subject for another day, because that will go into ideas that we ain't ready to go there yet. So facing yourself or having to take off the mask is part of that journey. And so Joker made a statement in the movie and said, I like we're good as long as Batman turns himself in, take off the mask. That's all you gotta do. And if he doesn't, people will die. And this man was willing to let people get killed just so he could cover up his identity. That's not being real with yourself. So people die. Now we're in this horror show, but the horror show is only a manifestation of what you're perpetuating to happen because you're perpetuating behavior that you're generating inside of you just in a different way. So Batman is not able to like show his true colors, i.e., address those fears inside and just be real with it. And Joker is the one who comes to say, okay, I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm an agent of chaos. Remember that? Chaos is another form of Kali. Kali and chaos are one and the same. What's up, Mike? Um, so when chaos is coming to bring order to your life. But you have to become the one who brings the order to the chaos. I think that's what Jesus was telling one of the disciples in the Bible about walking on water and being on that boat and not being in fear in the storm. Like you have to be the calm in the storm because you have to realize that what Jesus say, all these things you see me do, you could do the same and even more. So we're nothing different. I'm just showing you how I got there. If you read the book of Thomas, it's not, you will see that they're not talking about literal stories. They're talking about you becoming your higher self and opening up your pineal gland. Because it's all in there. Go read the book of Thomas. Very, very good, interesting read. Oh, and so that other point with this picture right here, because I know that this picture right here probably looked a little disturbing. Uh, so one of those goddesses that I was talking about, another one to add to that pantheon is Isis. Isis, or Aset, is one of the oldest ancient goddesses of Egypt. And Egypt and Isis is also, in her story, she is the one who actually resurrects Osiris from the dead. Heru is the one who avenges him by killing Set. Isis goes into the underworld and brings Osiris back to life. And she does that by being a dove. Doesn't that story sound familiar? Remember in the story where the Holy Spirit comes down on the Christ? Yeah, that's what that is. Trying to find a little picture for you, but I can't. I guess I didn't share it. Okay. Cool. Yeah, so the reason why I had that other picture up is because it's interesting. Like I said, Isis and Kali, one and the same. This ancient power that is rising up, and you can physically see the manifestation of it in humanity because people of color are starting to gain their power back. This is an ancient story from Black culture. There was a story about us going into this abyss or this dark stage where we would fall asleep and not know who we were, and we would live in a world unknown to ourselves. It's in all of the ancient texts, and we're literally experiencing it right now. But in all of those stories in India and China and Africa and the Americas, they talk about this sun rising again, which is symbolic of a new day. And our new day is coming, not just people of color, but just the planet in general. We're all part of one thing, and that one thing is moving through its own evolution, but it's through a process of life and death. And we've been taught in this realm to be afraid of death, when in the ancient world, they welcomed it because they knew that that was just a process to transition them to a higher place. And so, uh, oh no, my photos didn't show. Damn, I thought I was just like dropping it on y'all. See, I gotta get better. So I would just go back and show all of them again, but then I would have to talk about what all of them are. Um, Damn, that's messed up. I'm glad I know now. Thank you for letting me know that. So that's something I will fix for next week. So I do apologize to my viewers today. Um, but you did get the info today. So, are you going to face your fears? Are you going to be real with yourself? Are you going to shine light in those dark places? There's a Bible verse that says, I will give you treasures of darkness that are hidden in secret places. That's a pretty cool, deep line right there. So, those places that you don't want to face in the Bible, the good Lord is saying, that's why I got a word for you at right there. Dang. I'm gonna leave y'all with that one. Uh Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm definitely gonna be back next week. I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna have an actual full-on PowerPoint presentation because I want us to like break words down. We're gonna break down some symbols and we're going to connect them into today. Because the past, the present, and the future are all one and the same, and we're still telling the same story, just in a different way. So let's see what that looks like. It's gonna be fun. Okay, I gotta go. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. And I will see you guys next week. Peace.